let's just sew whatever. Hey everybody, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to cut and interface the Boronia bowler bag by Blue Callow Sewing Patterns. This is not the only way to cut and interface it, of course. This is just the way I like to do it and the materials I like to use. So let's get started. Ben, what are you doing in my scrap bin? You live there now? Okay. Okay, so I've got my main fabric. This is a Star Wars print that I designed. I have my single-sided fusible foam. This is the one I like to use. You may have a different one you like. I also have Decovil Heavy that I'll be using in place of peltex. Let's see, I bought this from Walmart. Oh, Decovil one-sided fusible stabilizer. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. It's $5.26. And then I have my Decovil Light. This is from gotinterfacing.com. This is what I'm going to be using behind the foam. It's just going to give your bag that much more stand up. This is Wovenfuse 2, also from gotinterfacing.com. I like to call this anti-wrinkle pants for your fabric because it really does prevent wrinkles, but it's a thicker woven interfacing than Wovenfuse and SF101. You can see just how thick it is. It's so cool. I love using it. And then I'm using waterproof canvas for the lining. This is the color orange, but I still have to pick out what vinyl I want to use. So I'm going to do that really quick. So I've used this tan with this vinyl before and I like it. This glitter vinyl would look really nice. Dark gray. This is the hard part, you guys. I never know. This black looks really nice. It's like a distressed black. Kind of goes with it. I could also do like a silver, metallic silver. That would look really neat. I don't know if I see any other colors that really stand out to me. Other than the metallic silver, but I know that one can like kind of rub easily and fade over time. So I may end up going with this dark gray, like this distressed black. This is a leather-backed one that I got from FM Stores. It's really nice. So I think this is the winner. So now we can get to cutting. Okay, so I'm gonna get started by turning my heat press on. I like to set mine to about 149 degrees Celsius, which I think is like 350 Fahrenheit. So optimal cookie baking temperature. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut my main panels first. Yes, we'll do that first. So since my fabric, my little panel here is bigger than what I need, what I'm gonna do is fold it to where I want the center. Goodness, Ben, what? And see if that'll work. So, no, it will not. Bummer. That's okay. We'll just fold it in half then. Gonna line it up. And then what I do is I just use the clips, the little hair clips that I use for sewing to keep my pattern together. And the flat side of the clip goes on the bottom. So there's a flat edge and a not so flat edge, to put it eloquently, as I do. And then what you can do is you can trace around your pattern with a marking tool if you want, and then cut. but I just tend to dive right in. And then there's going to be this little part of your pattern that you have to fold under. There we go. And so cut 2 exterior fabric on fold at dashed line. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Let's see. I was gonna say I might be able to use this scrap to make like binding for the inside pocket, so we'll save it. So there's our main panel, and I'm gonna interface that with Wovenfuse too. We'll get the next one cut out. And I lined that up like with the bottom about there. And then clip that on the center. You don't want to leave any fabric, if you can help it, showing along that folded edge, because then you're going to basically change the size of your pattern piece, and that's not what you want. I may end up saving those scraps because I could make a little like for the love of change pouch and do a little heart applique or something. That could be fun. Can I help you? Are you just learning? Okay. Can you have a seat somewhere? Okay. Oh, the gusset. That's right. Okay, let's see. I have to cut out 8 of these from lining. Why is this paper thicker? Oh, because I have 2. Why do I have 2? I don't know. I may be able to cut out these. Probably not. Negative Ghost Rider. How short is it? It's not that bad. I could just kind of adjust my seam allowance a little bit and use these, but then I only have 4. So I'd use that with waterproof canvas, and then I wouldn't have to interface it. Can you move? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these out. Again, if you have a piece that's a little bit smaller, just adjust your seam allowances, depending on if it's within the seam allowance range, of course. But I'm going to cut it to size along the other edges so that I know it's big enough. But I think it's like 1/2 inch seam allowance or something, so I can just kind of use that seam allowance along the edge that's cut to the right size and just get real close to the other side. So if you've learned anything, let it be that if you're confident enough, you can kind of adjust those seam allowances as needed for your pieces if it's just a little bit short. It'll work. So I have 4 that are cut with my main fabric, and then I'll cut 4 with waterproof canvas, and then I shouldn't need any interfacing on these pieces. I am using a canvas for the exterior fabric, so it's fairly thick already. Okay, and these get sewn together like that, so you want to cut them mirrored as far as right side, wrong side, etc. So before I apply any interfacing to these pieces, I want to press them. My heat press is still heating up, but it's still warm enough that this will work. So just leave it for a few seconds, move on to the next part. Here we go. So we got rid of like any little wrinkles that might have happened. And then the Wovenfuse too, actually you can layer it fairly easily. So that's what I'm gonna do, try to save up as much interfacing as possible. And I just lay my piece down and trace around it. With my scissors. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. You can trim it down later if need be. So you can see I'm just missing that little bit there, but I'll add a scrap later. Well, not later. I'm gonna add a scrap right now. I have this little piece here. You just want to make sure that you don't overlap it. And if you do, just overlap it a little bit. All right, so we'll save that for something else. And then what's nice about the pattern piece size is you can flip your other piece upside down so that you're tracing along that same curve and they fit together nicely. So you want to make sure to optimize your interfacing. So lay that down, I can trace around. Set that aside, and now I'm done with my Wovenfuse 2. I buy the biggest chunks I can because I hate to run out. And it's 60 wide, which is pretty nice. So fold it back up. I don't think I'm going to need any of these scraps. Put it back on the shelf. One really nice trick that I've learned after sewing and making bags for so long is to clean up as you go, because by the time you're done, everything's cut out, you're not going to want to put it away. You're going to be like, I'm ready to sew it. This mess can wait. Screw it. All right, so while my heat press is still warming up, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my foam. This foam, I think it's like one big thing you put together. I haven't read the instructions for this in a while, but based on the notes I've left myself, foam on the fold there and there. So I'm going to start this in the corner as close as I can. I'm going to use my clips again. Hold in place. I'm going to trace my center line. Just going to use whatever pen I can find. And I am tracing on the back side of the foam, so not the part with the glue attached. So I'm just slowly tracing around, making sure my pattern is laid as flat as possible. And then we'll flip it on the axis every which way. It's basically like a giant Darth Vader head. So I chose Star Wars and it's pretty fitting. Okay, and then you do not want to lay your pattern piece next to the line you drew. You want to lay it on there, because if you think about it, you traced the outside, but you want to cut out the inside of the pattern piece. So the little millimeter that your pen ballpoint tip is, it can skew your seam allowances and the size of your piece. So take that into account when you're tracing out your pattern. I also thought I bought the templates for this from Chops and Bobbins, but I think I was like, You know what? I want to, but I don't make that bag enough to buy it, so I won't. So that's my bad. Just make it harder on myself. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this free for now. And again, you want to cut on that ballpoint line. You don't want to cut next to it, on it. And then this is too small for me to worry about saving and keeping together, so I'll just keep this scrap on my shelf to use later. Okay, now I want to finish tracing my piece. And again, you want to lay your pattern piece on your pen markings. On it. Like to trace my center first. And if you want to make sure that you have a nice straight center, you could actually use a ruler also, and then use that as your guide. If you wanted. Nice and slow. All right, lay it on your ballpoint pen markings. This is harder because there's nowhere I can clip it to lay it straight, so I'm just gonna use my hand. You could use a pattern weight if you wanted to, but I've got a weighty item hanging off my body. Just throw it down. So that's all traced. I'm ready to go. I'm trying to think how many times I've made this bag. I want to say maybe five times I've made this bag. I really love the shape of it. I love the idea of it. And I feel like every time I make it, I'm like, you know what? There's just this I don't love about it. But this time I'm going to follow the instructions. Make notes if need be. But I have so many custom orders right now for the same bag. So I figured before the fabric comes for those, take the day, do what the people ask, make a new video. So I've got my foam ready. And my interfacing is ready to be pressed. My heat press is finally warm enough. So we'll let that go for a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out a Decovil piece that is about cut to where the bottom gets attached so that there's extra strength. And I like to let that go for like 22 seconds and then let it dry. Before messing with it too much. Let's go ahead and cut out my stabilizer piece. Let it dry. Okay, got my rotary cutter. Okay. I always have so many things written on my pattern pieces that I'm like, what am I looking for here? Okay. Just using my Alpha Splash rotary cutter to cut that. And then that's all I need of this stabilizer. So again, I'm done with it. So I'm gonna put it away. And then you can see I have this curved edge from what was left. So I'm just going to measure from the straight edge and trim that off. And there is my stabilizer. If you wanted the bottom of your bag to be really, really sturdy, you could add 2 layers of Decovil Heavy, or you could combine the Decovil Light with the Decovil Heavy, and it'll just give you a little bit more oomph to your bag. All right, so I've got my panels nice and dried, and you can see and hear like just how sturdy it is. I like to say that Wovenfuse 2 is almost like a layer of Wovenfuse and then like a quarter of a layer of Decovil Light. It just has this like nice firm feeling to it. I don't know how to explain it. But what you can do when you're deciding what interfacings you want to add or use is you can kind of lay everything together and feel what it's like, kind of let it stand on its own. You could even clip it together. I know so many people are like, what interfacing should I use? And it's really a personal thing. What I like may not work for you, etc. So while this feels nice, like a nice combination, the Wovenfuse 2 and the foam, I just know that Decovil is going to make the bag stand up permanently. The waterproof canvas is going to add quite a bit also. Oh, I'm struggling. This is what happens. But yeah, you could even, if you have little scraps of your lining laying around or something, you could feel that with it too. And while this will give it more ability to stand up, it's not going to give it what Decovil Light will. So I'm going to go ahead and cut Decovil Light just to the size of like right here, because my stabilizer is going to get attached and that's going to help it stand up there. And I don't want to interfere with the shape of the bag, because if I add Decovil along the whole foam, like it's going to kind of round it out instead of giving you those creases where Decovil Light ends, Decovil Heavy begins. Does it make sense, Ben? Okay, good, thanks. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lay my Decovil out. I'm gonna grab this pattern piece, and then I've got that fold line there, but I'm just gonna go ahead and fold it again. Sir. And I'll cut 2 of these out. So I'm gonna lay this down. Where's the best place so I don't waste any? Decovil Light is so expensive, you guys. So expensive. Whew. Okay. So we're gonna waste a little bit, but I can use it on something. And I'm also wondering if I should trim this down 1/2 inch, because when I add my zipper, it's gonna add that second layer because we're folding it over. So I'll be sewing through foam and fabric and lining and Decovil Light twice, if that makes sense. But I think it'll just make the zipper like even more crisp. So I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna trim it down, but you definitely could. But I'll also be editing this after I make the bag. So I bet if it doesn't work, I'll include a picture of me being like, don't do this. Yeah. And again, trace it on the line, not next to. You don't want to see that line you already drew, because then your piece is too big. You're adding that 1/8 of an inch or not even 1/8 of an inch, probably just the smallest amount, but still. So now it's a little shrunken Darth Vader head. Where'd my scissors go? I put them away. Go me. So I am going to fuse the Decovil Light to my exterior fabric. However, because my exterior fabric is shorter than what I've cut, what I'm going to do, you see how we've got that extra little line there, is I'm going to leave that portion of the Decovil Light out from under my heat press. So I'm gonna do that really quick. And then to show you what I mean, it's not under my heat press. It's sticking out. And just give it a few seconds. Now it's not perfectly fused down here, but we can get it later. So I'm gonna let this dry before I move it, and then I'll do the other piece. So now I'm gonna cut out that second piece of my Decovil, and again, how we're making those pieces work for us. We're gonna lay them together, those angles. Get those angles, girl, or man, and man, not or, both. Okay, so trace around that. And you can kind of get your pen to sit in the groove between the pattern and your, like, there's a sweet spot. I catch it and then I lose it. Baby, come back. Okay. Put that in place. Trace the next one. Okay, and now that's trimmed so I can fuse this other exterior, and then I think we can get started on cutting out our vinyl. And then the last thing we're gonna do is our lining, because we can turn off our heat press for that. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, it feels so nice. All right, I'll go ahead and when I attach my strap connectors, I'm not gonna have the foam down, because then you are perforating your foam where you're adding those connectors. So I'm gonna sew them on first, but to keep everything in place, I'll just clip this together for now. All right, so now I got my vinyl laid out here. I'm probably not gonna make a crossbody strap with this bag, so I'm not gonna worry about cutting that out of the exterior vinyl. So we need strap connectors. 7.5. That's funny. Okay. Let's see if this one will work. Where's the white? There it is. Nope, that's the pen. There's the white. Let's see if this works. This is a Sew Line marking pencil that I bought so long ago. Okay, so it says I need 15 by 4. So I've got this edge along my vinyl that is unusable. So I'm gonna get rid of that really quick. So just cut that off, make my life easier. And then you can see where, maybe I don't need this. 15 by 4 is like all of the pieces on one big block. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna tell you the way I'm cutting them after that though. So there's that. And then I don't need to worry like exactly the bottom piece size because it's all one big overlay. So I'm gonna cut that apart in a minute. And then I need straps, 4 inches by 24 times 2. So that's this whole thing times 2. So there's my 4. Make sure that's lined up. Okay. And then if you're using a leather, I would definitely suggest tracing from the face up. Not tracing, but cutting from the fabric face up so that you can see if there's any imperfections. Usually with vinyl, there aren't many imperfections. If anything, there's like tape on it or something. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trace down the center a 2-inch line so I know where to fold it in. That's where I'm gonna add my tape. And oh yeah, I've got tape over here. So I'll go ahead and add my double-sided tape. This is from waywack.com. I do not sell it through my website. I'm so sorry. So there's one strap. I wish I had an orange thread. That would look really fun with this. Okay, this is just a big old scrap. Make something with it eventually. Can we make my strap from up here? I think, yes. Sweet. I like to keep my vinyl pretty straight if I can with my cut lines. All right, it's kind of hard to see since it's black. Okay, 4 by 24. And that is why this 6-inch by 24 ruler is my absolute favorite ruler. It's just so easy to use. Okay, I have a little extra on the top. And then we'll trace down the center on the wrong side. And then add our tape. And I make sure to use non-stick scissors with this tape. Otherwise you're gonna gum up nice scissors and you won't be happy about it. Okay. Okay, now we can get the bottom piece traced and ready to go. So there's nowhere that I could really like clip it. So I'm just gonna hold it in place. Again, you can use your pattern weight, your hand. That's not gonna help me much, but it's something, right? I'm just gonna trace around there. And then there are purse feet marks to remember to add. Wish I had orange thread. It would look really cool with this. And I also may end up using my leather edge coat along the edge of this vinyl, just to give it a more finished look. Okay, trace out one side, flip it over. Make sure you're laying it on top of your previous mark. Lay your pattern weight down. So I think the last thing I need to fuse is the stabilizer to the bottom of the bag. So that's why my heat press is still on. Okay, got it? Yep. Got one vinyl. There's my peltex. So I still need to cut out my lining. That's right. So I'm gonna rough cut this out of the vinyl. I'm adding like an extra 1/4 of an inch around the edge because I'm not going to be able to carefully cut out the overlay piece while it's still attached to this big chunk. So I'm gonna cut where I can. So what's gonna be sewn is no problem. But what is overlay, I can't cut that out carefully right now. And it's not like I could use up every little tiny piece of this vinyl, even if I tried. So, get cut off what I can. I don't need any other pieces cut from my vinyl, so I can put it away. And now I can trace this out a little more carefully. We'll cut it out. It's already been traced. You just want to cut nice long pieces. And leave your scissors in place if you can. And just go really slowly along those curves. Okay. Looks nice. Looks real nice. Whew. Hold your breath if you have to. So there's that done. I don't know what that noise was, or even if you guys heard that noise. So what I'm gonna do is trace a straight line from where that indentation is. Oh. There we go. And that's just gonna help me lay my accent piece. And then I think it goes in 1/2 inch from the outer edge, probably more, but I'm just gonna go ahead and trace that too. Because I'm gonna go ahead and fuse that down. Okay. Yes, perfect. Yeah, that 1/2 inch helped. So you could spray baste it too if you wanted, but that helped me line it up exactly where I need it. So what I'm gonna do, usually I heat up the peltex, but I have it in such a perfect space. Ooh, there we go. Jump, 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 jump. All right, let's cut out the lining. Actually, I forgot I never cut out my strap connectors. It's kind of important. Okay. Okay. Oh, I cut this way too big. I cut it to 6. Yeah. I'm a dunce. It's fine. So they're 2 inches wide because you use 1 inch hardware. So now I have 3. I need 1 more. There we go. I just feel like they should be longer, but I'm thinking of the snowdrop. This ain't the snowdrop. Okay. So my straps need liner. And that's it. Right? Probably. So this is extra. Put it in the scrap bin. Lining! Alright, I'm going to finish with 4 of these gusset pieces because I've got this nice little chunk here that wouldn't be usable for anything else really. So I'm going to fold it on itself and cut 2. Well, no, that's not quite big enough. This part is. So there's one. And then I'll go ahead and lay these together while I'm already here. Roll it out one more time. Roll out. That's fine. Okay. Ooh, it might be kind of neat to have like a black slip pocket in this. So it's not like so much orange. I'm not a huge fan of orange. It just looks so good with this. It's very BB-8, you know? Okay. So I'm laying my pattern piece right on that fold, making sure I can't see any of my fabric underneath, because then again, your lining is bigger than it should be. So I'm gonna rough cut it out of the waterproof canvas. And then I'll clip it together where I cut it out nicely and cut the rest when it's at an easier angle to get to. And then again, just so there's no shifting, add some more clips. Why not? They work great for that. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do, I'll shock you. Probably not. Put the clips away when you're done using them. All right, so we, just like with all the other pieces, we use that curved piece to our advantage. So we're gonna lay this piece face down. I'm gonna line up that edge, the edge of the Darth Vader head. And then instead of trying to cut out two pieces on the fold again, I'm just gonna cut my second lining piece to the same size as this lining piece. So I've laid them right sides together so that the colors are a little bit different. And I'm just gonna trace and cut it out, clipping as I go. This isn't like a 100% exact science, you know, but it saves a lot of time and it works for me. So feel free to adapt it for yourself if you so choose. Does it save that much more time? I don't know. But then my lining pieces are the exact same size and they're already clipped together. I can just throw it in that pile. All right, so I'll finish cutting my gusset pieces. And I actually use clips to store my patterns together as well. So I'll just go ahead and clip all my pieces together and finish cutting this out. Oh, no, okay. I do actually need these gussets pieces because I didn't cut those out correctly. That's right. So I'll cut two out face up and then flip the others down and cut the others so that they're mirrored. Okay, face together, clip. So I've got my two face up, and I'm gonna cut these face down. I'm lining up those curves, or the angles as best I can, to save as much fabric as possible. Save the fabric, save the planet. And if you're confused on like what you've already cut or what still needs to be cut, you can lay this face down and match your pattern piece up to it, basically. Cut it out that way. So I guess I need another one face up. I don't know, maybe these will be inverted, they're not going to be the same, whatever. No one will know what I was trying to do. So, well, no one will know because I don't even know. That's just a fact. Okay. There's that. And clip that together. Boom. There's my 8 total pieces of that. So now I need slip pockets and a zippered pocket. You could also cut out like 2 zippered pockets to add if you wanted to. I'm not sure you could add a zippered pocket to the light or the exterior very easily, but I wouldn't blame you for trying. It's fine. It was my pencil and my Apple TV remote and a seam ripper. It's fine. It always falls. What am I looking for? I know what I'm looking for. My zippered pocket piece. I just use the same template for all of them, because it's always going to be a 7-inch zippered pocket. All right, we got off at a weird angle. Let's get back to it. Slip pocket looks like 11 inches by 8 inches. I cut it to. So I've got a straight edge here. 11 inches? No. That's not what I want to do, is it? 11 inches? Half would be 18 inches. I think I'm gonna do a big one and add my same kind of stitch line. So I'm gonna do 18 by 8. 18 by 7? 18 by whatever. Okay, so this will be the top edge of my slip pocket, and I'll add that into it. It'll be great. We'll figure it out. Okay. And this is what I love about using template pieces, is you can just zip around all the edges and reveal the pattern piece you wanted. Yay! So there's one. Then I'll cut out the second, and that's it. That's it. That's all we need. Besides the like lining bias, but I may end up not adding that. We'll see. We'll see. So I can put everything away. My heat press is off. So now I just need to pick out my hardware. This bag doesn't take a lot of hardware. 1-inch square rings and purse feet, 2 zipper pulls, 3 zipper pulls. And a tassel if you want. But yeah, that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching this cutting and interfacing video. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to watch the next video, which will be posted tomorrow, but it's probably already posted if you're watching this on a day that isn't April 15th. Bye guys!